Hello students, welcome to this channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the most important questions from the chapter Haloalkenes and Haloarenes, which is Organic Chemistry of Class 12 syllabus. And this video contains the previous year questions of JEE 2020, 19 and 18. So this is pretty much suitable for the aspirants of JEE 21. Let's get started. Before we could jump into the questions, take a look at this flowchart. So this is a brief summary of the preparation reactions and the chemical reactions of the chapter Haloalkenes and Haloarenes. I hope this flowchart helps you in quick revision of these all reactions. In case this is helpful and in case you want the similar flowcharts for the rest of the organic chemistry chapters as well, let me know the same in the comment section below. And now moving on to the questions. Question number 1. The increasing order of reactivity of the following compounds towards aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction is. There are 4 molecules A, B, C, D, and you need to talk about the increasing order of reactivity amongst these 4 molecules A, B, C, D. And this question is being picked up from the question paper of Mains 2019, 9th April, Shift 1. So this is like 2 years back question. And anyway, let's take a look at the molecules. The molecules, the first one is chlorobenzene, second one is methoxybenzene, third one is methylbenzene, fourth one is cyanobenzene. So these are all benzenoids, they're all substituted benzenes. And look at the substituent that you have here. In the first case chlorine, second case methoxy, then is methyl followed by cyano. And we are talking about the reactivity of these 4 molecules towards electrophilic substitution reactions or aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction, right? So what is exactly meant by the term electrophilic substitution? It's a substitution reaction. Electrophilic substitution is a type of substitution reaction. And in this substitution reaction, the incoming group is an electrophile. That's why you call it as electrophilic substitution reaction. But what exactly is meant by the term electrophile? Electrophile is something which is electron deficient. And because it is electron deficient, it will be attracted to the negative terminals. It will be attracted to the negative terminals or the negatively charged particles very, very quickly. All right. So if you are expecting electrophilic substitution to be observed in these 4 molecules, the benzene ring that you see in case of these 4 molecules should be having electronegativity, or it should be having a negative charge on either of the carbons. There are 6 carbons, right? On one of the carbons at least there needs to be a negative charge. And now the order, the increasing order of reactivity towards electrophilic substitutions depend upon what then? It depends upon the electron density over the benzene ring. So more is electron density over the benzene ring, the more is reactivity towards electrophilic substitutions. So we first need to look at which molecule is having higher electron density on benzene ring. And what does this depend upon? This depends upon the nature of the substituents you have. The substituents that you have over here can be classified into 2 types. One is activating group and the other one is deactivating group. So activating groups are also called as electron releasing groups, and deactivating groups are also called as electron withdrawing groups. So out of the 4 substituents that you have, the methyl group that you see here is an activating group. It donates electrons to benzene. And similarly, the chlorine that you have here is a deactivating group. It takes electrons from benzene. And then methoxy group is an activating group and cyano group is a deactivating group. So you have 2 activating groups and 2 deactivating groups here, isn't it? So let us take both the activating groups. One is a methyl group, other one is OME, methoxy group. Out of these 2 activating groups, both of them are donating electrons to benzene. Because they are donating electrons to benzene, benzene is receiving electron cloud and it is comparatively more negative than molecule A and molecule D. In case of molecule A and D, what happened? The benzene have lost electrons towards chlorine and cyano group, and hence the benzene is electron deficient. Electron deficiency is positivity. The benzene has got a little positive charge over here. But in B and C, benzene is negative. As we already have discussed, more is electron density, more is reactivity towards electrophilic substitution. So it is clear so far that A and D are less reactive and B and C are more reactive. But to write the increasing order, you need to be able to compare both of these methyl and methoxy group, right? Both of them are activating, but which is strongly activating, which is more activating. Similarly, you have 2 electron withdrawing groups. One is chlorine, another one is CN. out of these two, which is strong withdrawing group or which is strong electron withdrawing group or deactivating group. And that comparison says methyl group or CH3 group is lesser activating and methoxy group is stronger activating. Because of stronger activating capacity, the benzene ring which is connected to this methoxy group will receive a lot of electron cloud from the methoxy group. So the benzene containing this methoxy group has got highest electron density. So it is highly reactive towards the electrophilic substitution reactions. And then comes methyl group. As we already know, the C and B are better reactive groups than that of A and D, isn't it? So first comes B because of its highest activating capacity, then comes C because of its second highest activating capacity. And now out of chlorine and cyano group, chlorine is a little lesser deactivating and cyano group is little more deactivating by nature, which means cyano group is highly deactivating, so it is taking away a lot of electron cloud from benzene. So benzene have turned very much positive over here, as a result of which its reactivity towards electrophilic substitutions have reduced. So this is the molecule with least reactivity towards electrophilic substitution. So right answer for this question is option C, because we are arranging the molecules with respect to the electron density. The molecule with highest electron density is B, followed by C, followed by A, followed by D. This question in fact is from the chapter haloalkanes and haloarenes, but then to answer this question, you had to apply a lot of general organic chemistry knowledge, right? So that's why general organic chemistry is very important to study entire organic chemistry. This is like the fundamental or basic of organic chemistry. If you're strong with GOC, you will be able to answer a lot of questions from organic chemistry, all right? So now let's move on to the next question. The next question is a chemical reaction that you see here. You have to write the major product of this chemical reaction, and as you already see, there are two steps in this reaction. Step 1 is reaction with DCl. Step 2 is reaction with Di. Since we are talking about these molecules, let me remind you that D is nothing but deuterium, which is an isotope of hydrogen. Deuterium also has got same number of electrons as that of protium, and hence their reactivities are close by. So DCl is analogous to HCl and Di is analogous to HI, hydrogen iodide, all right? And they're also mentioning how many equivalents of DCl did you take. You took 1 mole or 1 equivalent, right? So look at the reactant that you are having. You have got an unsaturated hydrocarbon. You have got an alkyne over here. As we already know, when you are subjecting alkynes to DCl or HCl, HI, H2, Cl2 kind of molecules, they undergo addition in the first place. So the first step that you're talking about must be an addition. And because you have taken one equivalent will be able to break one pi bond. But here you have 2 pi bonds, isn't it? Out of these 2 pi bonds, only 1 pi bond is broken in first step. Then the second pi bond, that will be broken in second step. So second step also is an addition reaction. So in this, you are simply talking about 2 types of additions or 2 examples of additions. And this question also is being picked up from previous year question paper of mains 2019. 9th April, shift 1. See how easy kind of questions are asked in mains. You just need to be logically active to be able to tackle these questions. So let us understand how to answer this. We are talking about addition reaction in step 1 and addition reaction in step 2. After both the steps, you need to write the major product. But then technically, to cause addition, first of all, you need to look at the unsaturated hydrocarbon that you are taking. If this unsaturated hydrocarbon is a symmetrical hydrocarbon, as in if both the carbons involved in the double or triple bond are containing same groups attached to them, then you call it as symmetrical unsaturated hydrocarbon. If you have different groups attached to these carbon atoms, you call it as unsymmetrical, or you also can call it as asymmetrical, all right? If it's a symmetrical alkyne, then there's no problem at all. But if this is asymmetrical alkyne, then you have to follow a rule called as Markovnikov's rule when you're conducting addition reactions. So there's a rule called Markovnikov's rule which has to be followed when you conduct addition reactions in case of asymmetrical alkynes. And how do you know if the given alkyne is symmetrical or asymmetrical? Just expand the structure and write C triple bond C. On one side, the carbon has got CH3, but the second carbon involved in this bond has got hydrogen. So you are having carbon 1 and carbon 2 involved in a triple bond. Carbon 1 के पास कुछ और group है, carbon 2 के पास कुछ और group है. So this is an asymmetrical hydrocarbon, and hence you should follow Markovnikov's rule. And Markovnikov's rule says that the negative radical always attacks the carbon containing less number of hydrogens. So while you conduct addition, the negative radical should be connected to the carbon containing less number of hydrogens. To get this better, let's take a look at the mechanism directly. So over here, we are taking the given hydrocarbon and I'm taking DCl. DCl ionizes into D plus and Cl minus. So this D plus Cl minus, this is the negative radical. So this negative radical, according to Markovnikov's rule, should attack the carbon containing less number of hydrogens. So this is the first and second carbon involved in bonding. First carbon has got 1 hydrogen, second carbon has got 0 hydrogen. So I should be connecting the negative radical chlorine to the carbon containing less number of hydrogens. So carbon will be connected to this carbon, the chlorine will be connected to this carbon, and deuterium obviously should now be connected to the adjacent carbon, which in turn means that this carbon is a positive, this carbon is a negative carbon, and the bond shifting, the pi electrons have been shifted towards carbon number 1. So this is the product of step 1, and after that we are moving towards step 2, isn't it? Step 2, you have got Di, dissociate Di, D plus and I minus. Here is the negative radical. Even here you are talking about asymmetrical alkyne. You have CH3CCl, double bond C, there's one hydrogen, there's one deuterium. Observe if both the carbons that I circled are having same groups. No, not at all. So this is also a symmetrical alkyne, and hence you have to follow Markovnikov's rule, which says that the negative radical should attack the carbon containing less number of hydrogens. So I do have the iodide ion attacking the carbon containing chlorine, leading to formation of Cl and I attacking on the same carbon, and the adjacent carbon will be having D plus attached. So the final product should be CH3C, Cli, CHD2, which is in option D out of the 4 options that we have here. As a quick summary, you're talking about addition reactions of asymmetrical alkynes, and in simple, follow Markovnikov's rule and conduct the reactions to write the product. And also remember that this Markovnikov's rule has got an exception. If you are conducting addition of HBr in presence of peroxide, Markovnikov's rule is not valid. Then you will be following anti-Markovnikov's rule, which is the reverse of actual Markovnikov's rule. This is very important point. In 2017 mains paper, question related to this have come. So make sure you work on this as well. Now moving on to third question of this video. In case of any doubts, please let me know what your doubts are in the comment section. Question number 3. The increasing order of reactivity for the following compounds for SN1 substitution reaction is. So SN1 is nothing but nucleophilic substitution, but this is unimolecular reaction, and this happens in 2 steps, out of which the first and rate determining step is formation of carbocation. So the reactivity towards SN1 reaction or SN1 mechanism is directly proportional to the ease of formation of carbocation. If the carbocation can be formed easily, then that molecule would love to involve in SN1 mechanism. So out of the given 4 molecules A, B, C, D, you have to find the molecule which has got greatest tendency to form carbocation, and thereby you will identify its reactivity towards SN1 as well. So let us first of all arrange these molecules in their tendency to form carbocation, thereby let us observe the reactivity order. And now how do we know which can form carbocations easily? Technically speaking, you can identify that by observing if the carbons are primary, secondary, tertiary. Unfortunately, over here in all the 4 options, you are talking about primary carbon only. If you look at it carefully, it's all CH2Cl in all the 4 carbons. So you don't have that feasibility of comparing on the basis of primary, secondary or tertiary. So you have to look for some other logic, and the logic that we can apply over here is inductive effect. So observe molecule number B. Molecule B is having CH3CH2Cl, isn't it? It has got 2 plus I groups. CH3 is a plus I group, CH2 is a plus I group, and both the plus I groups would be pushing their electrons towards chlorine, isn't it? I'll draw the structure over here once again. CH3 would be pushing electrons towards CH2 would be pushing electrons towards chlorine. So basically what's happening here is, due to presence of this plus I groups, chlorine is receiving electrons. In all the four cases, remember, chlorines are greedy for electrons. They are electronegative. They always desire in grasping the electrons from the adjacent atoms. If they are getting electrons, then they'll not break away. They'll stay back. If they are not getting the electrons from the adjacent group, then they'll break away easily. So this breaking away is due to polarity in simple language. And in the second molecule, which is B, because you have plus I effect, chlorine is stable. It stays and it doesn't break away. And when you look at the first molecule, even in case of first molecule, you have got plus I effect, right? And look at the third molecule. In case of third molecule, you have a plus I group here, but unfortunately you have got a benzene. Benzene always will be expecting electrons from the substituents to participate in resonance. So this benzene is an electron withdrawing behavior. It's a group with electron withdrawing behavior. But this benzene also has got a methoxy group which is giving electrons to benzene. So in case of molecule C, you are having an electron donating group, and that electron donating group CH3O will be donating electrons to the benzene ring. So benzene is satisfied to some extent with respect to its electron grade. So when you observe these four molecules on their capacity to be able to form carbocation, the molecule B does not at all want to form carbocation because the chlorine over here is happy. It is receiving electron cloud from the adjacent group. So it doesn't want to break away. It doesn't want to form carbocation at all. And then molecule A, because it also has got only plus I groups, even this molecule doesn't want to lose its chlorine and doesn't want to form carbocation. When you look at molecule D, because you are having benzene and this benzene somehow is drawing electrons from the adjacent CH2 group, the chlorine is a little unhappy and the chlorine is tending to get out of the molecule. And if the chlorine gets out of the molecule, there's a scope that CH2 plus carbocation is formed at this spot. And in molecule C, due to presence of a methoxy group, has tendency to draw down electrons from this CH2 group as well. As a result of which, the chlorine over here is literally unhappy, and because the chlorine is unhappy, it would be wanting to break away. So the ease of formation of carbocation here is C greatest, followed by D, followed by A, and followed by B. So the ease of formation of carbocations is directly proportional to reactivity towards SN1, and that's why the right answer also follows the same order, which is option C. I hope you could understand this explanation, but in case of any doubts, please put down your doubts in the comment section below. So let's jump on to the next question. The next question is talking about which of the following compounds is not aromatic. And this question also has been picked up from JEE 2019, 9th January shifted 2 question paper. And in this question, you have 4 molecules. You need to observe them and you need to tell them which is not aromatic by nature. This question is a very simple and a direct question, and it can be solved with the help of a rule called as Huckel's rule. So this Huckel's rule helps us in deciding if the molecule is aromatic or non-aromatic. And according to Huckel's rule, if there is a molecule whose aromaticity is to be defined, then you should see if that molecule is satisfying this equation or not. And the equation is 4n plus 2 should be equal to the number of pi electrons in the molecule that you are talking about. And in place of n, you can take 0 and test. You can take 1 and test, you can take 2 and test, and 3, 4, 5, you can take any integer. Place a value for n in this equation. The equation should be solved and it should be, the solution of this equation should be equal to the total pi electrons in your system, in the system that you're talking about. I know you're pretty much confused. Let's take one example. I'm talking about benzene. Benzene has got totally how many pi electrons? 3 double bonds is equal to 6 pi electrons. Fine. Benzene has got 6 pi electrons. So now I'm trying to figure out if benzene is aromatic or not. So I'm trying to say, or I'm trying to see if I can solve this equation by taking n value to be either 0 or 1 or 2, and if I can equalize this component to the 6 pi electrons that are existing in benzene. So in the first place, I'll take n value to be equal to 0. Then 4 into 0 plus 2. What is 4 into 0 plus 2? This is equal to 2, isn't it? Is this equal to the pi electrons of benzene? No, this is not equal to the pi electrons of benzene. And I'll take n value to be 1 and check. I'll take it as 4 into 1 plus 2, which is 4 plus 2, which is 6. Which means the n value is equal to 1 for benzene, because when I place this n value in the equation 4n plus 2, the solution of the equation will will be equal to the total pi electrons in benzene. Because n value is coming out to be an integer over here, I say that benzene is following Huckel's rule and benzene is aromatic, right? If n value comes out to be 0, let it be 0 or 1 or 2 or whatever. If it comes out to be integer, the molecule is aromatic. If it is non-integer, if it's a fraction, then the molecule is non-aromatic. All right. So now when you look at the four options that you have, A, B, C, D, in all the four options, when you observe the same rule, 4n plus 2 pi electrons rule, or 4n plus 2 is equal to pi electrons rule, only in case of the second option, you won't be having n value being equal to integer. In case of the second option, where you have this molecule, how many pi electrons do you have? You have only 2 double bonds, isn't it? Because you are having 2 double bonds over here, how many pi electrons you are having? You're having 4 pi electrons. So pi electrons is equal to 4. And I want to take the value of 0 first of all in this equation. And when I take this, the equation solves to be 2, which is not equal to the total pi electrons you have in this molecule. Then I'll take n value to be 1. When I take n value to be 1, the solution of this equation will come out to be 6, which is also not equal to the n value or the total number of pi electrons, which is 4, isn't it? So over here for option B, n value is non-zero. N value is not equal to 1 as well. When you take n value to be 1, the equation is getting solved to be equal to 6, isn't it? And hence, the molecule which is given in option B is non-aromatic, because when I'm trying to solve this equation and equalize the value to the total pi electrons, it's not being equalized. And when can this be equal? It will be equal if I can take the n value to be a fraction. Instead of taking 1, try taking say 0.5. If you're taking 0.5, n is equal to 0.5, then 4 into 0.5 plus 2 is equal to pi electrons. 4 into 0.5 is equal to 2. 2 plus 2 is equal to the total pi electrons. And in this molecule, the total pi electrons is equal to 4. So the equation is getting solved when I take n value to be 0.5. If n value is a fraction, the molecule is non-aromatic, right? The molecule is not aromatic. It can be anti-aromatic. It can be anything else, that's all different, but then it is not at all an aromatic molecule. And for rest of the molecules, you have the problem satisfied, because over here, because you have lone pair of electrons with nitrogen, total pi electrons is equal to 6. Similarly, because you have a negative charge over here, total pi electrons is equal to 6. And over here, because you do have 3 pi bonds, the total pi electrons is equal to 6. In all A, C and D, the molecules are aromatic. But only in case of B, it is not aromatic. This is a question asked in mains January, another different shift on 11th of January. And even this question is about aromaticity. You have to observe these 4 molecules that are given, and you have to talk about the molecules which are not aromatic by nature. Now over here, you try applying the concept. I have taught you in the last page, right? You try doing it. Take the equation first of all. 4n plus 2 electrons should be equal to the pi electrons of the given molecule, right? And after that, 4n plus 2, what should be the value of n? You can take it as 0 and solve. You can take it as 1 and solve. You can take it as 2 and solve. If n value being 1 is able to help you satisfy this equation, then the molecule is aromatic. For example, out of the molecules that you have here, look at the first molecule. There are only 2 pi electrons. So when you have only 2 pi electrons, and if you are taking n is equal to 0 and place it in the equation 4n plus 2, it turns out to be 4 into 0 plus 2, which is equal to 2. And the solution of the equation is equal to total pi electrons you have. And when did you achieve this equalization between the equation and the total pi electrons? You achieved it when you took n is equal to 0. N is equal to 0 or 1 or 2 or 3, any integer, the molecule is aromatic. So this molecule is aromatic by nature, right? On the other hand, having the second option where there are 4 pi electrons, and you have to take the same equation 4n plus 2, and in place of n, you try to take 0. If you take 0, the number of electrons will come out to be 2, which is not equal to the total number of pi electrons you have here. And take 1 and check. If you are taking n is equal to 1 and check, then what will happen? If n is equal to 1, then the total number of pi electrons is coming out to be 6. So is that acceptable? No, it is not acceptable. This is not acceptable because when I'm solving the equation with n is equal to 0, it was not equal to the pi electrons of the molecule. When I solved the equation with n is equal to 1, it was also not equal to the pi electrons in the molecule. So this is not aromatic. This is something else called anti-aromatic, but in the first place it's not aromatic molecule. So this is not aromatic. Followed by the next one, 8 pi electrons. And 8 pi electrons, if you take n is equal to 0, the pi electrons will come out to be 0, which is not true because this molecule has got 8 electrons. If I take n is equal to 1, then the pi electrons will come out to be 6, which is not equal to actual pi electrons you have here. If I take n is equal to 2, then it will be 4 into n, which is nothing but 2, plus 2. 4 into 2 plus 2 is equal to 10 pi electrons. This is not equal to pi electrons that are present in molecules. So this is also not aromatic. You know? And after that you are having the next molecule, and this next molecule first of all is not in conjugation. The molecules which do not follow the concept of conjugation, they are not eligible to talk about this aromaticity and all of that. For some molecule to be aromatic, first the molecule should be having conjugation. It should have alternative arrangement of pi electrons or pi bonds. Only then you can talk about Huckel's rule. So fourth option or fourth the molecule that you see over here doesn't even have that conjugation. So it's invalid. It's not aromatic and it's not valid as well, right? So let's go back to the question. Here we have to identify the molecules which are not aromatic, and out of the study that we have done, the second molecule is not, and then the third molecule is not, and the fourth molecule is also not. So out of it all together, the right answer is option A. B, C and D are not aromatic. The last one doesn't even follow the rules of aromaticity, and the second and third one are anti-aromatic by nature. Now, I hope you have a better clarity over solving the questions related to Huckel's rule. So this is all for this video, guys. In this video, we spoke about a few, how many? Probably 5 questions from JEE Mains 2019 question paper related to haloalkanes and haloarenes and also general organic chemistry. I hope you could understand the explanations, and we will be having more such videos coming soon for explaining you how to solve the mains questions from different chapters. I hope you have understood this, but in case of any doubts, please let me know what your doubts are in the comment box below. I'll see you in one other video. Until then, bye.